The world of the Mayan was very much like the world we live in today. The Mayan world was held in place by belief. We hear such words as the Mayans were the very best astronomers and astrologers ever. And yes, a few of them were. But does anyone actually believe that all 8 million or so people were the best astronomer, astrologer that ever lived? 8 million of them? Come on. Do you see that there were a small percentage of the Mayans that were the best astronomers? Yes, and the best astrologers. Do you see that that same percentage, that same small percentage of Mayans were also the leaders? Do you see that that same small percentage of Mayans saw that, I don't know, 99.6 or 9% of the rest of the people in their own culture lived in an illusion? Lived in an illusion? Do you see the possibility that from the position of being outside of the illusion, those few leaders also saw at what point belief in illusion would reach critical mass? Do you recall the Mayan game? The ball had to go through the round opening. It sounds a little bit like what another said about passing through the eye of a needle. Perhaps that has something to do with Christ consciousness. Perhaps it's all metaphor. In similar ways, the infrastructure of the Mayan culture was held in place by belief. As long as we believe in an illusion, we continue to play the game, and the suffering continues. We believe we are form, and we live in fear. The form we believe in is the form of this world and the form of our physical body that we perceive to be in this world. Any scientist will tell you that the human body is really not a solid object, even though it may seem so. The human body is just countless atomic particles that are constantly moving or vibrating. These particles are so incredibly tiny that the space between them, in relative terms, is greater than the space between the Earth and the Sun. The human body is more space than it is solid. More space than solidity. How can we be our body unless what we truly are has more to do with space than it does with what we perceive to be form? Consciousness cannot be inside such an arrangement because there is no solid object there to be inside of. In the world of form, including thought form, every time we put attention on something, we feed it. We create it. When we put attention on violence, in the news, for example, in a computer game, in a movie, we reinforce the belief in violence through our thoughts of what we are giving our attention to. And simultaneously, we add those thoughts to the already saturated mass consciousness. The same is true of what is said about December 21st, 2012. Each time we think of the end of the world as being December 21st, 2012, we reinforce the belief that it will be that. Our thoughts energize that. It is an idea. It is simply an idea. Our thoughts energize that idea. Every thought that is thought about the destruction of the human species creates exactly that for the thinker. There is a quote by someone, I don't recall who, that goes something like this: "You are not what you think you are, but what you think you are." Think about that.
So you don't need to worry about all of these naysayers. We want you to understand you have this wonderful thing going for you here out on this leading edge of creation on planet Earth, and that is the dilution ratio. And by that we mean the old disconnected ones are croaking right and left. And in doing so, they are re-emerging back into pure positive energy where they're getting full view of things, where they're not pinched off anymore. And new, fresh ones are being born all day, every day, who are being born from this vantage point of this furthermost expanded leading edge. Do you understand that it is vibrationally impossible for those kinds of predictions to be true? They defy everything. There is no regression. There is only expansion. This planet is not coming to an ending. It is barely beginning.